Okay guys, this is Don with Andalusia Music, and I'm going to show you guys how to do basic string change on your acoustic guitar. Hopefully this is going to be the first in a series of how-to videos that we're going to put up to help you guys out. Some basic tools that you're going to need is something to cut your strings with, a string winder preferable, a set of acoustic strings, and then a tuner would really be great. This is basically, I'm going to give you my ideas of how I do it. First thing I do is I loosen up all the strings. We're going to take all the tension off the neck. You don't want to pop the strings with all the tension on it because you can't get slapped in the face with it. Then we're going to remove the old strings. Don't be afraid to cut them all off. It's the best and the quickest way to do it. Let's get all the strings off here, get them out of the way. This is also a good time while you've got the strings off to wipe the guitar down, clean it up a little bit from all the grime that gets on it just from playing it. Now if you have trouble removing the end pins, this is one of the things I use my string cutter for. You don't grab hold of them real tight, but it's an easy way to pull your bridge pins out. Get all the bridge pins out, remove the rest of the strings. Go ahead and give your guitar a good wiping down. Now we're putting a light set of strings on today. This is what came off of it. Now what I like to do is I tend to put all my strings on the bridge first, and then I put them on the headstock afterwards. I usually like to put them in and give them a little bit of a tug, seat them into place. If not, if you've ever put strings on before, you know sometimes the bridge pins will pop off and shoot through the roof, and then you've got to spend the next 5 minutes trying to find out where your bridge pin went. You'll find a standard string change usually doesn't take more than 7 or 8 minutes to get it done unless you run into some problems. Now this is the part that most people tend to ask about, is how to string it up and exactly what do I do around the headstock of the guitar. Now what I do is once I put the string through, I go to your next tuning key. I pull back so that I have a little bit of slack. I go under and I wrap around. Now I use my right hand to keep tension on the string so that it's not pulling out, and then I go ahead and I use the string winder to pull up the excess slack. You usually have about 3 good winds on your small strings. That way you know you're not going to have any slippage at all. Take the cutter and you want to cut as close as you can so that you don't end up getting the part of the string that ends up poking you in the fingers. Now we're going to do that with the other ones. I'll show you again. I go to the next tuning key, pull back, wrap under, over the top, and I'm holding my finger here because as I'm wrapping the string down, I want it to go down on the peg. I don't want it to come up, I want it to go underneath that. That's one thing that helps hold it in place and keep it from slipping. If you do any alternate tunings where you're tuning down, dad, gad, open E, open D, so forth, you definitely want that little bit of an extra wind in there because you do not want your strings to start slipping. Now that noise you just heard, that was it seating in the bridge pin back there. You'll get that every now and then. If you don't get it pulled up tight enough, that's fine. It's better that it seats than it pops the pin out, because sometimes that can be a little freaky. Alright, now we're moving on to the G string. Now here I don't have an extra tuning key to go to, so I just go an average, the same distance, pull down, wrap. I usually bend the string up. That helps hold it in place so it doesn't pull down. And then we're going to wrap this one up. Now if you notice, I started at the first one and moved my way up. That is the easiest way to put the strings on. If you start up at the top string, then the bottom 2 tends to get in the way. Same way when I move over to the low strings, I will start with the one closest to the outside, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Go to the next one, pull back, wrap, and then bend it up. That holds it in place. We're going to. If you notice, I've got a little bit of a block here that helps hold the neck. Not necessary to have one, but it does come in handy. Makes it easier if you're not having to hold the neck up while you're trying to do this. Then we'll cut the excess off, and we'll move on to the next one. Now I'm also going to show you a little trick that I do once I get done. Is we pre-stretch the strings. Helps a lot with the tuning of the guitar. Is as you're tuning it up, you go ahead and stretch your strings. If you know anything about your guitars, you have to tune them constantly. That's just the nature of the beast. It happens. The more you play it, putting it in your case, you're going to have to tune them. but when you first put the strings on, they stretch for a good hour after you put them on, especially with the steel acoustic strings. If you're ever changing a classical guitar, that's a whole nother story, and it'll take about 20 more minutes on the tape to show you how to do that because they stretch a lot longer. So here I'm still holding, I'm keeping the tension on it, pushing down, make sure everything's lined up nice and tight. I keep checking my bridge pins, making sure they're staying in place, and then we cut the last string off. So now we got nice and neat, nothing hanging off. Now what I do is I'm going to make sure they're got some good tension on them, and then I'm going to stretch them real lightly. You don't have to pull up super tight. If you do, you can pull the strings out. Once we're there, turn your tuner on. Make sure you're set for 440 concert pitch, and you're going to slowly tune it up until you get each string in tune. You may have to do this 2 or 3 times depending on how much you stretch the strings the first time. Over the years of doing this, I've noticed that I've been getting pretty close right off the bat, so the tuning really doesn't take me as long as it might for some just starting out. But we do this here at Andalusia Music for free. You buy the strings from us, as long as it's a standard guitar. We do the setups for free, changing your strings. If you've got a electric guitar with a Floyd Rose, there is a $10 charge for that, just because the Floyd Rose is a little bit more. And likewise, for a 12-string guitar, we charge $5 for changing the strings on that because it's 12 strings. Now, once I've got it in tune, I'm still going to go ahead and I'm going to put some tension on the strings one more time. This will be the second time that I've stretched them. And we're going to tune it again. And right now, I'm exactly almost a half step out. So that just shows you how far the strings are stretching. They were actually stretched down to almost E flat. So we're going to get back up to standard tuning here.
Which is what?
Standard tuning is 440 concert pitch. If you don't have a tuner that says where you can actually change this tuner, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it actually has where I can change the pitch here from 440 all the way up, I believe, to 450, 460. Other tunings like that I've never really got into. I usually try to keep everything at concert pitch, but you can tune this one down to E flat just by hitting the calibration button. But that's something we'll cover that on another day. I'll show you guys how to do some open tunings, real simple playing styles when you do that. But this is the main thing, is changing your strings and being able to keep your guitar in tune. If you can't keep it in tune, you don't know what you're playing. So there we go, we've got it strung up. And she's in tune and ready to go. Hopefully this will help you guys out. If you have any trouble, just come in and see us. We're at 1025 East 3 Knot Street. Just ask for Don, and I can take care of you. Y'all have a good day.